Hi guys, so in this video we're just going to be focusing on the past paper for June 2022. So in this video, in this specific video, I will be doing question 1, and if you want all the other questions, please check the description of this video and you'll get question 2 all the way up to the end of this paper. Anyways, let's start solving problems. So the first thing we're going to do is 1.1.1, where we also solve for x, right? So we have x squared plus 2x minus 15, right, equals to 0. So you find the factors of x squared, which is x and x, factors of 15 such that when you add or subtract they give you 2, which is the middle term, is 5 and 3, right? And then always the bigger number takes the sign of the middle term, and then this is negative. So x is equals to 3, or x is equals to minus 5. So these are your solutions of x, right? Now let's go down to 1.1.2, right? Let me just erase this quickly. So 1.1.2, we also solve for x. So whenever you have a statement that says leave your answer correct to 2 decimal places, it tells you that you can't factorize this problem. So you have 5x squared minus x minus 9 equals to 0. So you have to use a quadratic formula, right? So it's x equals to minus b plus or minus the root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. What is your a value? My a value is equals to 5. What is my b? B is equals to minus 1. C is equals to minus 9. So you substitute that into your equation. X is equals to minus, my b is minus 1, plus or minus the root of b squared, so it's minus 1 all squared minus 4. My a value is 5, my c value is minus 9, right? And then divided by 2 into 5. Punch that in your calculator, you should get x in sat form. It's 1 plus the root of 181 all over 10, or x is equals to 1 minus the root of 181 all over 10, right? But we know that we are asked to write in 2 decimal places, so x is supposed to be equals to 1.45, or x is equals to minus 1.25, right? So these are your 2 solutions for this problem. Anyways, we are done. So now let's go to 1.3, right? Let's first erase this. So now in 1.1.3 we are given this problem here where we have x, so we're doing this, by the way, x squared is less than or equals to 3x, right? The first thing you're going to do is going to transpose the 3x to the other side. You have x squared minus 3x is less than or equals to 0, and then you factorize, so x into x minus 3 is less than or equals to 0. So x is equals to 0, or x is equals to 3. So these are your critical values. So critical values, right? X equals to 3, x equals to 0, and x equals to 3, right? And then when you have an inequality sign, and as you can see, it says we want solutions of x such that your y values are less than 0. So that's what this means. Your y values are less than or equals to 0. So what are the x values when that happens? So you want to put in your critical values. The first critical value is 0. The second critical value is 3, right? So I'm just going to write critical value, critical value. So you want to test values before your critical value here. Let's say it's minus 1. And here between your critical value, let's say it's 2. After your critical value, let's say it's 4. So I'm literally punching my calculator. So I'm going to use this equation here, which is in standard form, which is x squared minus 3x is less than or equals to 0. So I'm going to substitute x being equals to minus 1. I'm going to test that. I want to see what is the sign of that answer. So I'm going to say minus 1 all squared minus 3 into minus 1, right? And what is the answer that you're getting? I'm literally punching as we speak here. So getting an answer of 4, right? Positive 4, so it's plus 4, meaning that any number that is below this this 0 here, which is our critical value, has to be positive. That's what it means, right? It has to be positive. Anyways, now let's test x being equal to 2, right? So we're going to be testing these values. So we tested this one, it's fine. Now we're testing this one, x equals to 2. So you go back to your equation and you substitute 2 and what I'm getting is minus 2, right? Getting minus 2, meaning any value that is between your critical value of 0 and 3 gives you a negative solution of y, right? And then it says for your number 4, x being equals to 4, so you go back to equation, you put 4, right? You substitute your 4, and you'll get positive 4, so you get y being equals to 4, right? That is the solution when you substitute x. So meaning here it's going to be positive. So you are done getting your signs. So now you have to conclude with your value of x. You have to conclude and say x is equal to this. How do you conclude? You go back to look at the inequality sign. What is it saying? It's saying we want values of x such that we want values of x such that the y values are less than or equal to 0. So anything that is less than or equal to 0 is negative, right? So we're looking at here at this one here, which is negative, right? So we're just going to focus on that. So use our critical values to conclude. So we can say x must lie between, because the inequality sign is less than or equals to. Actually, it has both the inequality sign and an equals to. Hence, I indicated both here. So my x must lie between 3 and 0 for me to get the solution where my y is less than or equals to 0. So this would be your answer, or someone else can write x must be greater or equals to 0, or x must be less than or equals to 3. So that's how you write it. Right, so we are done with solving this problem here. Let me erase, and let's go and solve another problem, right? Remember, if you want to do other questions, the description has all the questions for this paper, right? I'm just going to solve everything in this paper, so please check out the description. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. Thank you so much if you have. Really appreciate it. So now 1.2, we are given this problem here, which is a plus 64 over a is equals to 16. So we are asked to solve for a, right? So the first thing we do is, the problem is a plus 64 over a equals to 16, right? So the first thing you do is you want to get rid of what's at the bottom, which is a, right? This a here. So by so doing, you multiply by a, and you also multiply by a here, which means you multiply by a. Then you're going to have a squared plus 64 is equal to 16a, right? You transpose the 16a to the other side. You have a squared minus 16a plus 64 is equal to 0. And then you factor out, remember we're solving for a, so the factors of a is a. Factors of 64 such that when you add or subtract them, they give you the middle term, it's 8. So 8 and 8, if you add or subtract 8, you will get the middle term, which is 16, like minus 8 and minus 8 will give you that, right? So the solutions of a is 8 on this side and also 8 on this side. So these are the solutions of a. And then 1.2, hence we must solve this, right? Please don't forget a is equals to 8, right? Let me not erase it actually, so that because the question says hence, it's very critical. It said hence, meaning there are chances that whatever you solved previously is going to be used. So we are having 2 to the power of x plus 2 to the power of 6, 2 to the power of 6 multiply, 2 to the power of 6 minus x, right? What am I looking at? 2 to the power of 6 minus x is equal to 16, right? And then you break it down, so it's 2 to the power of x plus 2 to the power of 6 multiplied by 2 to the power of minus x equals to 16, right? And the first thing you're going to do here is you're going to write it in the correct form, 2 to the power of 6 over 2 to the power of x equals to 16. If you check clearly, obviously the 2 to the power of 16 will give you 64, right? 2 to the power of 16 will give you 64. If you write it differently again, you're going to say 2 to the power of x plus 64 over 2 to the power of x equals to 16, right? So what I want you to notice is this, is that this problem here, from where I've written it, this whole thing is the same as this one here, right? It's just that here it's a, but for this one it's 2 to the power of x, and where there's 64 it's 64, where there's a it's 2 to the power of x, and where there's 16 is 16. So what this means is, where there's a here, it's 2 to the power of x, right? But here, instead of writing 2 to the power of x, we have a. So it means a is actually equals to 2 to the power of x, right? So you can conclude and say 2 to the power of x is equals to what? Remember that a was equals to 8. It's what we found in the previous question. So which means here it's going to be 8. And then 2 to the power of x is equal to 2 to the power of 3. X is equals to 3. So this is your solution of x for this problem here. Now, let's go down to 1.3, which is really interesting, I think. It's fun to do. Okay, so now let's do 1.3. So we are asked to solve this without the use of a calculator. So what I'll do if I was you, I'll try and punch it in the calculator first and see the answer. The calculator, chances are it will give you the answer, right? And then you know what you're working towards. You're not fighting to get that final answer, but you know what you're working towards, right? So anyways, let's write down the problem. So it's 2 to the power of 1002 plus 2 to the power of 1006 all over 17 into 2 to the power of 998. So the whole aim here when you have such problems is you want to simplify it. You can use a common power. For example, you can see that everything here is 2 to the power of 1000, 2 to the power of 1006, right? So you can even use a common of 2 to the power of 1000. It can be common to all these expressions, right? So how you'd write it is this. So you can say 2 to the power of 1000, right, multiplied by the 2 to the power of 2. Why? So that when you go back, you still get 2 to the power of 1002, right? Hence, I said 2 to the power of 2, because same base, you add exponent, you still get 2 to the power of 1002, right? So that's how I got it. And then plus 2 to the power of 1000 also, multiplied by 2 to the power of 6, divide by 17, right? And then 2 here, you can say to the power of 1000 also, and then say 2 to the power of minus 2, so that you can still get the 998, right? So now that you have this, right, it's in a square root, by the way, you can factor out the 2 to the power of 1000 because it's common throughout, right? So what you're going to do is this. You're going to put in your square root and factor out the 2 to the power of 1000, and what you remain is 2 to the power of 2 plus 2 to the power of 6, right? And then you close the bracket. It's going to be 2 to the power of 1000 multiplied by 17 multiplied by 2 to the power of minus 2. So this 2 to the power of 1000 goes away, and then you remain with the root of 2 to the power of 2 plus 2 to the power of 6 all over 17 multiplied by 2 to the power of minus 2, right? And then, so what you do here is you can just add what's at the top, right? Add what's at the top, you're going to get the root of 68, right? And at the bottom, just put it in your calculator. It doesn't matter at this stage. You'll get 17 over 4. And then punch the whole thing in your calculator. You get the root of 16, which is equals to 4, right? So that is the solution for 1.3. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you didn't, please let me know in the comment section. If maybe it was difficult, where was it difficult? If it was fun to do, please let me know also. We are just trying to have fun here and not be miserable, not. So anyways, let's go to 1.4. 1.4. What do we have in 1.4? We have two equations. We have 2x minus y is equals to 2. You can make this equation 1, right? And then we have 1 over x minus 3y is equals to 1. Obviously, you need to put this properly. So we're going to multiply by x throughout, multiply by x, multiply by x, multiply by x throughout. And what we'll have is 1 minus 3xy is equals to x, right? So I can make this equation 2, right? And in equation 3, I'm going to use this equation here to create equation 3. So it's going to be minus y is equal to 2 minus 2x, right? And then divide this with negative 1 all sides. Divide with negative 1 all sides. We have y is equals to minus 2 plus 2x. So just to write it properly, y is equals to 2x minus 2. So now you have three equations. You have 2x minus y is equals to 2. So this is equation 1. And then we have another equation which is 1 minus 3xy is equals to x. So this is equation 2. And then you have y is equals to 2x minus 2, which is equation 3. So now you're going to use these equations to solve for x and y, right? So the first thing you're going to do is this. Let me erase this quickly. So the first thing you're going to do is this. You're going to say substitute equation 3 into the equation that you haven't used to create equation 3. You can say equation 2, right? We're just going to use this equation. So it's 1 minus 3 x, where there's y, you put 2x minus 2, and then it's equals to x, right? So it's 1 minus, so these two here, we should get 6x squared, right? So 6x squared, and then this and this, you get plus 6x, and then I transpose this x to the other side. I have minus x equals to 0, and then minus 6x squared plus 5x, and then this one here, so it's plus 1 equals to 0. So I write it in standard form, which is this form, but obviously I want to remove the negative, so I divide by negative 1 throughout. So I have 6x squared minus 5x minus 1 equals to 0. So then I find the factors of 6x squared such that when you add and subtract the products, they give you the middle term. So it's just 6x, and then here it's x, and then you can put in what can you put in here as the factor? You can put in 1, and then here also put 1 because we only have 1, and then the signs, this is minus, this is plus. So x is equals to minus 1 over 6, or x is equals to 1 according to this. Then you substitute, you have y is equals to 2x minus 2. So when x is equals to negative 1 over 6, you just substitute that 2 into negative 1 over 6 minus 2, right? And then you're going to get minus 7 over 3. So that is your solution of y, right? And then for your solution of x, you do the same thing, right? You substitute x equals to 1 in this case. So you will have y is equals to 2x minus 2, which y is equals to 2 into 1 minus 2, which is equals to 0. So this is going to be a y value equals to 0, right? And these other x values, please consider them together with the other one, which was y is equals to minus 7 over 3. So all these four are your solutions of x and y. Thank you so much for watching this video. Don't forget to check the description of this video for more questions on this June exam of 2022, right? If there's something that you struggle in this question 1, let me know. I will help you out. Thank you so much for watching. Take care.